This video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another Farming Simulator 22 Map First Impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at BigProduction's map. But before that, this video is brought to you by Alpha Tryon and William Chapman. Thank you for being farm barons. So the BigProduction's map can be found over at the FarmingSimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu, and as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. Let me read you some of the description. I present you the BigProduction's map, where factories are the main feature, where you can deal with all kinds of factories. There are two types of factories. The starting area is for animals, and the other big area is for everything else, which is included in the base game, but since it is for sale, you can add an external mode. That entire sentence really doesn't make too much sense. Hopefully someone maybe can help me explain and understand what that means. Also, you will find a train to transport wood to the factory. Then there is a call for applications. If you want to challenge, start the farm as an economy manager and find out what it's like to have nothing. Now, I'm not sure if he means farm manager, where you don't own any land, but you have a pretty big bank balance at the start, or if he really is meaning start from scratch, where you truly start with no land and just $500,000 in the bank. There is a lake on this map. There are 8 viable farmland areas, a big forest, large fields, and, well, good luck, he says. Now let's go ahead and load into the map. We are going to use the mods we typically use when we take a look at maps. It's additional field info, additional game settings, field lease, field calculator, and precision farming. I want to also tell you, if you load this map up in a farm manager or start from scratch, you will find the main starting area is built out exactly how you're going to see it here in new farmer mode. In addition, you do have starting machinery in all play modes. You just do not own any land in those alternate play modes. Now, when we load in for the first time, we do load at what I would call the starting farm, because we do have our farmhouse located right here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. It is going to be pretty straightforward because we have, well, 2 massive fields. One massive field that's kind of split between 2 crops. A huge field here. We have a couple grassy areas and a couple other fields. Then our main farm area is right here. A lot of factories are already pre-owned. Then we have another area up here that is also got some factories and some sell points. And then over here, this is a buyable area. Farmland ID 12, you need $2.3 million to buy, but it is going to have a boatload of factory areas for you to make use of. So that is definitely something to be saving up for if you want to exercise the 59 productions that are pre-placed on the map. Now, of those 59, 13 of them are storage warehouses, but still, that is a massive number of pre-placed productions for all platforms. Now, this map does have all the standard crops available to us in Farm Sim 22. And if we go ahead and take a look at our lands, you'll see we start by owning Farmland ID 1. That is the main starting farm, 15.79 acres. You can buy that for $383,000 in any alternate play mode. We also have Farmland ID 8, 11.57 acres for $281,000. We have Farmland ID 4 as well as Farmland ID 11. And, well, so we start up owning Farmland ID 13 too. Big, massive field 2. 93.88 hectares, 238.82 acres in size. That's nearly $6 million to buy. Good thing we already have it at the start. Let's go ahead and take a look at our farmland lease screen. This is going to show us all of the viable farmlands, how large those farmlands are, if those farmlands include any fields, what they include, then lastly, how much is that farmland going to cost us. So Farmland ID 14, another 99 hectare farmland, is going to be field 3, $5.9 million to buy. What a doozy. Here we can see the field calculator screen. We have 8 total fields on the map. You see the sizes of each of those particular fields. We do have the standard base game crop counter available to us here on the Big Productions map. And if we take a look down through our prices screen, well, we have a boatload of places that are going to be taking all of our products because there are, again, so many factories pre-placed. We do have the ability to do our eggs, wool, and milk as well as our silage, hay, straw, and grass. Taking a down look through our productions, we do have the ability to sell all of the base game production items here on this map. In fact, most of these are going to be going to other productions. One thing that we do not have the ability to do is we do not have the ability to buy bulk lime. We do have stone crushers pre-placed on the map. If you are going to be playing with stones enabled, all I can say is heaven help you, because that is a massive amount of stones that are going to possibly spawn on those two huge fields. Oddly enough, though, if you are playing with the Platinum expansion, none of those Platinum expansion productions are pre-placed, nor is there a sell point for any of those. So with the large forest that the description decides, I think it would have been nice to have had some of the Platinum expansion production items pre-placed as well. Instead, we have a multitude of the base game productions placed all over the place. We do have the ability to sell our separated manure if you are playing with pumps and hoses. Taking a look at our starting equipment, we do have a fair bit of starting machinery. It is all owned, none of it is leased, and is all well maintained. We do start out by owning some animal pens, although we do not have any animals in those pens. This map does have contracts on the fields that we do not own. We do start out by owning a few productions at the main starting farm. So we have a grain mill, a dairy, a spinnery, a BGA, as well as a secondary grain mill and a tailor. All of the productions that are pre-placed on this map are base game productions. None of these are going to be outputting any sort of custom product. This map also does not have any collectibles. So let's go and address maybe kind of the namesake of this map, the productions. So we have 59 total productions. We have a single sawmill. We have 8 grain mills, 3 dairies, 5 spinneries. We have a 250 kilowatt BGA. We have 4 tailors. We have 2 500 kilowatt BGAs. So it's a total of 3 BGAs in all. 7 bakeries, 4 carpentry shops, 2 sugar mills, 4 oil mills, 3 cereal mills, and a grape processing center. Now you may say to yourself, that's not 59. Well, no, it's not, because there are also 13 warehouses. And those warehouses are also coming up as productions because they have input triggers. I want to show you a little bit about those warehouses. They're not real productions. They're just kind of used for storage, as one might surmise. But that is kind of a collection of all of the massive list of productions we have available on this map. Now, I was going to do a run through of the productions in the productions menu, but when I looked at it before recording, they're all standard base game productions, and it's really not going to need to go through that list. I've already went through the list already with respect to how many of each type we have. Let's go ahead and take a look at our owned vehicles. We start out with the large John Deere 9470 RT, as well as the Fast Track 8330. We have several semis. We have the 3-man TGS 18500 4x4 semis and a Mack Anthem 6x4. With those semis, we have 3 Krone Profiliner trailers. We have a pair of New Holland CR 1090 harvesters. We also have a pair of Superflex 45-foot grain headers. We have the Rodney H21D tree harvester, as well as the Bison active frame tree forwarder. We have the Krone Big M 450 mower. We have the Kloss Scorpion 1033 telehandler. We have several forklifts, and they're going to be scattered around at the various warehouses. We do have our John Deere Gator. We also have the Crampy SKS 301050 grain semi-trailer. We have the PowerFlex 125 disc harrow. We have the Amazon Citan 15001C seeder. We have the Merge Max 950 windrower. And then we have, for our telehandler, a set of pallet forks. As far as mods and DLCs, this map does not have any custom vehicles or implements. As we take a look through all of our base game build mode items, we do have some custom things. We have a large warehouse. We're going to find these all over the secondary area. And when we get over there, I'll kind of talk about how these are working. You'll see they accept input and output all of the base game productions. That's here under sheds. Everything else should be fairly standard as far as all of our buildings go. Production, they're all base game production items. So all of these that are listed here are simply listed here because they are pre-placed. There isn't anything really custom about these, although I didn't go and fill each single one of them. So it is possible that they accept more inputs than the base game productions, but overall they don't produce other products. That's what really I'm trying to get at. Standard base game greenhouses, orchards, generators, animal areas. We have these, but these are simply here because, again, they are pre-placed. They're not really modified too terrible much with respect to the other animals. As far as our ground textures, fairly standard ground textures and plants. So let's get on with the kind of tour of the main farm area. A lot of this farm area can be sold, but not quite everything. So for example, you can sell a farmhouse. For whatever reason, you can't sell the hedges. I tried to get rid of the hedges. Wasn't able to do that. I could sell the fencing though, and I can sell the animal pens. I can sell several other buildings, but there are some pre-placed kind of houses or other structures here on this area that you cannot get rid of. So we've got 250 chickens in this coop. We have our food trough. We have our egg spawn point. We have one of our large machine sheds. We have a small cow pasture that's set up for 60 cows. Food, water, and then our milk extraction point. This is one of the houses for which are permanently placed. You cannot get rid of this house on the farm. We have our shop trigger located right here. And then you see our spawn point is way off in the distance. So we have a huge area here for our vehicles to spawn in at, which is quite a good thing because we're going to be wanting to use some very, very large machinery, no doubt, to operate those huge fields. We also have our dealer trigger with corner markers listed. We have another cow area. So we have our slurry point. We have our food troughs. And I believe this has been modified to hold 200 cows as opposed to the base game quantity. And we have our milk point. Over here we have wool. I actually have a little bit of wool already spawned in. This is kind of a difficult spot right up next to the silo. No sheep, but we do have one little part of a wool pallet. 300 sheep in this pen. We have a base game spinnery here at the farm. Right next to the sheep area, which is nice. Our large base game silo with dump and fill points. We have a maintenance shop as well as a pressure washer. We have a dairy production point. You can see we have another house that we cannot get rid of. We have one of the many grain mills here at our starting farm. And that is pretty much this starting area. I think we're going to kind of maybe skip over the flyover and just drive around to these areas. Clearly the entire top half of the map, maybe top half, 2/3 of the map are two massive fields. So we don't really need to go up there. Now right next to our main farm area is this little side area. And I believe this may also be tied to our land. Let's just check. Yep, it is part of Farmland ID 1. So technically this is also part of your main farm. So here we have a sell point in a restaurant. We can sell this restaurant, I do believe. We have another permanent structure. We have a little shed here. Then this is going to be a large sell point. So we have our dump point for our grain and then our pallet sell point located right here. This is permanent. We cannot sell this big structure. We have another restaurant sell point and another house that we cannot get rid of over here. And then these buildings over here are also permanently affixed. So with respect to, can you customize the main starting farm? While we have such a large area and we can get rid of a lot of things over at the other side that we looked at, a lot of things over here on this other side that are tied to the main starting farmland ID, we can't get rid of. So we are going to take off a little bit of points, just 1/4 of a point, because we do have such a large area. It's not going to be, I think, that impactful. And you're going to see when we get over to the large other production area, there's just so much going on. I can't fathom you're going to want to place more productions on console. I don't think you're going to be able to. On PC you can, but you will have to put down a mod that will allow more than the greater default number of productions to be placed. So we've got our gas station here, just up from the main farm. We do have a train, and we do have a train sell point. So to the south, we have the large forest that was described, and this is where we're going to find our forestry machinery. Already staged. We have our train transfer warehouse, silo, to transfer product to and from the train. And then here we have the BGA that we own at the start. We have our tailor, another restaurant sell point. We have another flour mill, stone crusher. The grocery sell point, we have 4 solar panels to keep that money flowing in. We have biomass heating plant sell point. We have our animal dealer up here to buy our animals. And then another couple of sell points over here as well. And then, of course, the massive field. Of course, it's pre-planted in sugar beets. There's someone to harvest that. Just tell me in chat or down in the description below how long that took you and how many harvesters did you use. Challenge should be using non-unrealistic equipment on this map. So here we have another sell point, another fuel station, just right here between both of these massive fields. And then let's make our way over here to, well, as you can see, And as you saw in the thumbnail, this huge collection of factories and warehouses. $2.3 million. Let's roll on in here, and let's just take a little station identification break and buy the land here so all of the production show up. And I'm going to try to not miss any of these, but they're just scattered all over the place. It's going to be a little hard to. We have 2 stone crushers as soon as we come in. Then we have a base game dairy. We have a base game grain mill, base game oil mill. Here is one of these warehouses, and we might as well just show you how this is going to work. If you're not familiar with how this warehouse mod works, you're going to come inside. Obviously, you're going to back up your semi. Oh, it's over here. You're going to back up your semi. You're going to open the door. Right? You've got your forklift. You're going to unload the semi. Yes, unload the semi. Here is your input trigger. In the office is your interactive icon to control the particular warehouse. So you can see all the incoming products and all the outgoing products. And when you put the products in this trigger here, they're going to spawn on these pallet racks. And once they spawn on these pallet racks, they are legit pallets. And that's why I'm not a fan of this warehouse. Because, well, console players, you have a pallet limit. You're not going to be able to do massive productions because you're not going to be able to, well, you can, but you can't store all those massive pallets. You're going to run up against the pallet limit. PC players, we had, or maybe we still have a pallet limit, but we have a mod that will basically get rid of that pallet limit. So we can just completely kill our system's performance by having thousands of pallets stored amongst all 13 of these warehouses if we want to. But it will fill each of these pallet warehouse or pallet racks. And we're going to have to use a forklift to come in here and pick up the pallet and then take it to our loading dock, put it on a truck to then sell it. Okay. The way this warehouse would be better, in my opinion, is if it actually stored the pallets, but only gave you a visual representation that the pallets were in the warehouse. They weren't actually spawned there. They weren't actual products. And then you would have an output trigger where you could pop the pallet out. You know, it's almost as if maybe, right? As if maybe Giants has already made a warehouse that does just that. Maybe. Just take that same mechanic. Where you have an input trigger, you have an output trigger. And then the pallets spawn in there, but they're not actually spawned in there. They're just visually represented in there. So to have this functionality in there would be cool. And to maybe have kind of an input and an output trigger such that you could output your storage. Maybe it works that way and I just hadn't figured out how it works. But I was able to put pallets in there. I was able to use a forklift and pick those pallets up and basically treat them as if they were real pallets. As we continue to make our way around the kind of perimeter of this area, we have a bakery, another pallet warehouse, two carpentries, we have two bakeries, another warehouse, another carpentry, Yet another warehouse here to our left. Then we have a train with a grape processing. Several large storage sheds. 2 bakeries. Some more storage sheds. Another warehouse. We have a cereal factory. We have our flour mill. We have the 2 biogas plants. Another warehouse. Another flour mill. Another carpentry. Another warehouse. Then we have our oil and our dairy. We have 2 more oil mills. We have 3 flour mills. Another warehouse. We've got a couple tailors, retailers, another warehouse. Like I said, 13 in total. Some spinneries. This is... not sure what this thing is. Oh, this is going to be our train transfer silo. It's over here. I believe I misspoke earlier. The thing I said was a transfer silo on the other side. That looked to be more of a sell point or a buy point. So we have oil mill, another warehouse. Another spinnery, bakery, spinnery, and warehouse. We haven't even made a full circle yet, let alone what's on the interior of this. Now you can sell these various factories if you do own them. I wasn't able to sell any of the warehouses though. So here we have another cereal, oil mill, Mama Joe's Diner sell point. Another sell point there. Restaurant sell point and a biomass heating plant. Another stone crusher. And that should be the exterior. Now let's try to do the interior. We have our easy shed. We have ourselves a bakery. We have a cereal factory. 2 more warehouses. Another bakery. Another carpentry. Some more bakeries. So there you go. So let's talk about the scores, because that is pretty much what's going on here with respect to the Big Productions map. We're going to be giving the map obviously a full point. Dare I say, maybe it deserves extra credit for the number of factories that are pre-placed. We're giving the map a full point, obviously, for production being pre-placed or area set aside for such. We're also going to be giving the map a full point with respect to the ability to sell all of our base game products, animal outputs, and production items. With respect to can the farms or farm be customizable, I'm going to knock off a quarter of a point because we do have sell points that are technically on the starting farmland, as well as just decorative buildings that we cannot get rid of. We are going to be giving the map a full point with respect to building textures and ground textures using the new texturing technique, because these are all base game factories and buildings. Then lastly, player and interactive areas being clearly marked. I'm going to once again give the map a full point there as well. So that's going to round it up with a score of 4.75 out of 5. Very respectable score. Love to know what your all's thoughts are down in the comments below with respect to this Big Productions map. Are you going to be giving it a go? And how long did it take you? And how many harvesters did it take you to harvest that giant field of sugar beets? I hope it's sugar beets for everybody. And until next time, happy farming.